Shadow Show.
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 Shadowing it.
Chris, Cody, are you excited about the Sueys? How do you feel about the Sueys? It's always a giant undertaking.
I thought you meant, am I excited for the Jaelen Phillips interview to air today because, that went so well last week for me. But, yes, I am excited for the Sueys. The Sueys, as our team has grown, I get a little more help now, so it's not – I'm kind of just like I get the final stuff and I do the cut down. So it's been made a little easier for me because of our large team. Thanks to Yeti, thanks to Rage Against Twitter, thanks to Ethan, thanks to Mike Malley.
Okay, we don't need an acceptance speech before we
just asked if you're excited.
Acceptance speech.
No,
He won a
it's
Suey.
just on the front end thinking I want to thank my helpers.
What are you, Santa?
I wish Santa should do that on Christmas morning.
You'd be a great Santa.
Santa does not thank his helpers enough, I'd say.
Come
all the
on.
work that those elves do, and Santa gets all the credit.
You ever heard Santa thank the elves, have you?
The elves are only famous because of Santa. The elves only have any notice in the public consciousness of any kind because Santa exists.
Well, the Keebler elves exist outside of Santa.
Yeah, they're not the gift givers. Nobody cares about those elves.
You hear that, Ethan? You don't matter.
Here's the thing about the Keebler elves. You know they're always going to deliver. Sometimes you get bad Christmas gifts. I dare you to find a bad Keebler cookie.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju, at Le Batard Show. Do the Keebler elves always deliver? Yes or no? What are the categories we're doing today? Because we're going to be doing the Sueys all week. Stugotz said he had forgotten all about the Sueys.
Big categories today. We're coming out strong. It's kind of like the Oscars. You start with big categories. You finish with big categories. We are doing best dismissal and best limited fake today.
I'm scared of the Sueys. I would say I had a bad year.
Honestly, being in this chair, my head's been spinning this year as well. I didn't have high hopes for these Sueys. The Sueys have made me feel better about the product that we've put out the last year.
Really?
Just listening
They
to them,
have a
I'm
way
like,
of
wow,
doing that.
We had some funny things.
Yeah.
For me, this year has just been, my head's just been spinning.
What are you nervous about? Worst mistake? I mean,
No,
in general, the quality.
I've had a rough 2 years, just in general everywhere, and it is shown in my work.
Previous years, I've had plenty of musical contributions. This year, a light year for me. So today's day is my day. Wow. This is the opportunity for limited fake Pierce Brosnan to be recognized by the Academy.
Yes. Mike is always strong in limited fake. I would say dismissal, usually a Stugotz category. Billy Gil brings it this year in dismissal.
Awesome.
I don't want to oversell it, but strong year for Billy in
good?
dismissal. You dismissed a lot of people this year.
That's not.
No, it's always good.
I don't know how I feel about this.
Keep it up.
Mike,
No.
in terms of putting the town on alert, did you do so this weekend? All in college football, all the dogs covered. All of them.
We kicked off a new weekly segment called Put the Town on Alert, and we put FSU on Upset Alert, and that one cashed, boys.
But all of them.
Town on alert.
All of them cashed. All the underdogs cashed, Stugotz. Why? Because nobody knows shit. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls better tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my, please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We came for war, man, forget my peace. We take the west side, take on the east. I'ma put them in the cage, never let out the. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Man so tough, but mans keep walking, yeah. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls, better tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my, please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
I would say that Roy genuinely and generally struggles with public shows of joy. Princess Claire will bring joy out of him. Large amounts of alcohol will bring joy out of him.
The Panthers hoisting the cup.
It brought
some joy.
It thawed some of the stoicism. I wouldn't call that joy.
I expected more. You're right. Yeah.
But I imagine that after winning in Key West a championship weekend of weirdly fishing and barbecue, after winning the combination of things and being a champion in what I imagine was a very competitive thing. People take their fishing very seriously in Key West. So I don't know how many people were competing in this thing. But, Roy, you won the whole damn thing. How much of an upset is that?
We beat legitimate Hall of Famers on the barbecue side, definitely. Guys like Tuffy Stone and Mo Kason, like the biggest names in barbecue over the last 20 years.
Well, what does that mean? What
Right.
the barbecue Hall of Fame or Hall of Famers of this tournament?
Barbecue Hall of Fame.
Where's that?
I don't know what a barbecue Hall of Fame is. It could be anywhere in this country. I don't know.
Next to the Hot Dog Hall of Fame that Gil's in?
Somewhere
Yeah.
in the South, I would imagine. I'm just,
Yeah, but beating those guys.
You
I
beat
mean,
Tuffy?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, that's humbling right there.
But is Tuffy still bringing his A game, or is it like Tuffy downside of Tuffy's
Oh, no.
Hall
he's
of
bringing
Fame
his A
career?
game. His team actually won an award.
Wow.
A Cheeseburger in Paradise Award. They actually won. So
At this tournament?
Yeah.
So this is barbecue, fishing, and cheeseburgers.
They didn't make cheeseburgers. They named it Cheeseburger Paradise after Jimmy Buffett. But yeah,
Of course,
Rest in
right.
peace.
Yeah.
Can you be competing still in barbecue competitions if you're in the Hall of Fame? I feel like once you accept the Hall of Fame, award,
is there
you should
an
be
actual
removing yourself.
Hall of Fame?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So where is that? And and Billy, it seems to me like you're undermining everybody here because I don't think there's a Hall of Fame, and you're undercutting Roy's joy.
It's in Kansas City.
We
what
can
it
visit
usually
it
does.
next week, Billy. How
Wow.
about that? Yeah. I mean,
Go see Tuffy's bust or bronze ribs or whatever.
yeah.
Roy is not lying. Tuffy was inducted in 2018.
Why would Roy lie?
First ballot,
I'm just verifying. I'm not saying he was
first
lying.
ballot guy?
That's
or-
a good question.
Right, Tuffy?
It kind of feels like you're trying to diminish Roy's achievement.
Yeah, that's what
here
you guys
by-
usually do.
by being
Yeah.
sarcastic around it and doing bit. Like this is a monumental achievement.
No,
He just dipped his toe in the barbecue competition waters and he came out a champion
Yeah.
over Tuffy.
I know. I think what we're thinking is whether or not Tuffy is Hall of Fame worthy.
No,
you know?
I wouldn't.
I mean,
I think the most important thing is how much money they raise for pediatric cancer.
No, the most important thing is winning.
I want to know on the pie chart,
Thank you.
though, how much meat Dave did and how much Roy did. Were you the sous chef? What was going on here?
Well, the team was Dave Williamson, comedian. He has his own
Meet Dave.
barbecue podcast, Meet Dave. And
He's
Jody
looking good
Flanagan.
in that upper body.
Yeah, man, he's been
starting to
lifting.
lift.
He's been lifting.
He's always been thick.
Yeah, but no,
Yeah, he's
now
a
he's got
hoss, man.
definition. He's got like
Well, he's opening for Kreischer. That always helps too.
yeah, he's got a little bit of like a meat bone definition about him. Like those lats are starting to poke out a little bit. Tank tops look good on
thick
Dave.
like De Niro.
Yeah, Jody Flanagan was also on the team. He's an actual
wow.
pit master. Me and Jessica were also on the team, so we did our own individual thing. Me, Jody, and Dave did the meets, and I mean, we're champions, man. Like,
And how many fishing champions were there? Because like you're dealing with the barbecue Hall of Famers, and the fishing they take super seriously there.
oh yeah, absolutely. Like we caught a whole bunch of fish. I caught 9 myself, a whole bunch of snapper. I caught a lemon shark. The entire team caught 2 sharks, topping and a permit fish. Those are big fish right there. So yeah.
Nice. Did you get seasick?
No. Jody did. He got seasick. That was unfortunate.
Yeah, open water fishing is no joke, especially out there in the Keys.
Oh, and seasickness is the worst. Like it is such a bad feeling.
Well, it's not the worst. The cause that they were trying to, raise money against was probably the worst.
Actually, the legitimate thing is they got drunk the night before. And that
Oh,
probably
boy.
didn't help.
That's
Poor
how it
form.
happens.
Yeah.
That's how
Shocking.
it happens.
Was Meathead Goldwyn there?
I did not see him, no.
Oh.
No. 16 lobsters we caught on Saturday as well.
He really boxed you in there. I mean,
Well, it's just an asshole move. It's just a total asshole move.
he's
Like
right,
I already
though. I mean,
did the dangerous pediatric cancer joke by saying winning the barbecue fishing competition was more important than raising money for it, and then he just boxed me in with assholeness. Like just
also reminding
it
the
was
audience
just the
of-
smell of asshole that
That's
just
what you were
cornered
doing,
me.
huh?
Doing
yeah.
this for a
Joke
good
of
cause.
poor
yeah.
taste.
Yeah, that's not something.
Service
I'm
to
here to
the
support
audience.
Roy. I'm
Right.
proud of him because I too am made joyful whenever Roy experiences mass levels of joy. I'd say that his character has softened quite a bit in recent years. But yes, anytime that he shows immense joy like he did over the last weekend, I think that's cause for celebration. And the fact that he held his own, a part of a team that went up against Hall of Famers, Roy, look at me in my eyes. Sincerely proud of you. And I wish I had some of that barbecue.
So how did the overall winner work? It was a combo of like the fishing and the barbecue?
Yes, sir. All the points together.
Now,
That's how we won overall.
Was Jessica a judge?
No, she was a part of the cook team.
That would have
Wow.
been unfair.
Yeah.
2 champions amongst
Inside
us.
job.
Yeah.
Oh, you brought the trophy.
She was a part of the cook team,
Yes, she was a part of the cook
so
team.
she wasn't fishing?
No, she didn't fish. No, she was just a part of the cook
She
team.
posted the picture that Halliburton posted, though, as if she did nothing. Because, Halliburton was like, won a gold medal with, the group project, got an A, didn't do anything. I think she was.
Well, no,
that
she
person.
did everything that we asked her to do. So, yeah, she was a part of the team.
Well, I mean, seems like you just sent her to the kitchen, which
Right.
is just really poor optics.
I mean, I don't know what Bane would say, but yeah, I guess so.
Congratulations, Roy. Hold up your trophy proudly there. I hope the fish were bigger than that trophy.
It's a
They
terrible
didn't hold back.
trophy.
They didn't really hold back on the trophy, did they?
Grand champion.
What kind of budgets are they
I guess
working with?
Tuffy got an appearance fee. That's
Well,
what.
the
That's what
money
I'm-
goes to cancer, guys.
No, actually, no. There was a bigger trophy, actually.
For losers?
No.
We showed a picture of
for
it.
cancer, Billy.
No, but that's like a traveling trophy.
Yeah, this
Can't
is-
give
Not
everybody
for
the cancer, but we're going to give them a trophy
No,
instead.
There's a
this-
bigger one. There was one with a fish head on it that I
Yeah,
saw.
exactly. There was one with a fish head on it and 3 lobsters on top of it.
Oh, what's that? That's the cheeseburger award?
Yeah, that's the overall award. Right
So it's like the same.
Well, you just said you
Yeah,
won the
yeah,
overall
safe.
award, didn't you?
huh? Say again.
Didn't you win the overall award?
Yeah, but he
The
doesn't get to
entire
keep the
team.
trophy.
Yeah.
Like he
Me,
gets a
Dave
plaque.
gets that.
Barbecue division, Billy. It's a combination barbecue, fishing, all
Wait,
of it,
no. So
yeah.
your team gets that award, and then you each get individual little plaques.
Yes, our names go on there. Yeah.
Wow.
The event runners keep the trophy.
Like the cup.
Congratulations, Roy. We are genuinely happy for you because you did look like you were having just the time of your life this week.
Oh, absolutely.
I saw something this weekend that I don't know if the rest of you saw it, and we'll get to the events of this weekend because there's a lot to talk about. But we did want to celebrate Roy's joy with him. And it's a fun trip for him and Jessica to have made. Super sunshine in paradise. Like it looked like a lovely weekend.
It was raining.
Thank you for sharing.
Doesn't
Guy
stop.
Fieri's
It doesn't stop.
Guy
No.
Fieri's in the Barbecue Hall of Fame,
Wow.
2012.
Deserving. First ballot guy. Has to be, right?
Barbecue?
So's Henry Ford.
Guy Fieri?
Huh.
Barbecue? I think Guy Fieri maybe is a cook. I don't think of him as a barbecue Hall of Famer.
Well, Henry Ford invented cars or whatever, so I don't know why he's in there.
He's a part of helping make charcoal, I believe.
Guy Fieri?
No, Henry Ford.
The thing that
He invented charcoal?
He and the guy from the
Sorry.
Kingsford brand, they kind of helped.
Well, that
We've
makes sense.
done this so many times, like ridiculous how easy it was to invent things back in the day. Nobody knew anything.
The thing that I saw this weekend that made me laugh the most, though, involved Chris Cody, and I don't know if the group knows what it is that I was laughing about.
Christ, man, after last week, we're just going to start right here. Okay.
Well, we've
We
got
started already. I
as
mean.
well as with the Sueys today, we've got some Dolphin interviews from camp. We're going to be doing that all week. We're going to finally air all week all of the interviews where you can watch how uncomfortable Chris looks being right in the face of a bunch of giant people and uncomfortably close to them. But what I saw happen this weekend that made me laugh is we went, I'm not going to say viral, but we got aggregated last week on a couple of things. I don't even remember what it is that they were, but the thing that was delighting me is that other entities on YouTube turned the aggregate stuff into their own content. So it might be me and Amin talking about X, but on the screen with no explanation, large as can be, is Chris Cody playing with his drawstrings. And everything that's being talked about, there's no explanation. They're referencing the commentary that's in the lower right-hand corner of me and somebody talking about something, but giant on the screen is Chris Cody, large as can be, large and in charge while playing with his drawstrings, and there's no explanation for why it is. He's 10 times larger than the people talking about the content that was being devoured.
We're back.
The college football that greeted us this weekend, Stugotz, the funny micro part of it is legitimately funny what happens on first drive sometimes when you have an entire offseason to prepare for an opponent. Like both teams with their scripted plays went right up and down the field on each other, and then the rest of the game, FSU couldn't run the football at all.
After that first drive, I was convinced that Florida State was the best team in the country.
Yes, that happened this weekend with a lot of people, and I thought that the coolest part of this weekend, Stugotz, because so much of sports is filled with yelling and blame and arguing, and sometimes, the great moments in sports transport us and we enjoy them together. But it's really rare for sports to just arrive and everyone's hugely grateful as if they've been dying missing something. You do not get what happened with the return of football, even the collegiate form, even though there was one game of importance this weekend, and everything else was just betting action. I think there are 31 games on Thursday night, 31 Division I games on Thursday night. But the return of football came with so much public gratitude that it caught me off guard a little bit, even though I know people love football, but I think of it as pro football. And what's happened is the expansion of the weekend. No, you guys like the escape of all of it. It's no longer just Sundays. You were happy that football was back in any form, that it started at noon, that game day was back, that McAfee was getting drunk in Ireland and making it look like a huge fun party, as it should feel like a huge party. And it just seems rare in this day and age to see just simple gratitude, the way the poets talk about baseball when they're Kirkchen's age, but this being like all over the place, people just really excited and positive on social media for the return of something.
In this country, it might be antiquated thought because it's commonly referred to as the four major sports. They say pro football, pro basketball, pro baseball, pro hockey. I don't think that's exactly accurate, and I'll tell you why. I think college football is quite easily the second biggest sport in this country next to pro football. And you don't necessarily get to fully experience that because while you're still basking in the glory of your Saturday, here comes Sunday to knock it out of the headlines. But if it were on a different part of the calendar, we'd be a country that would be kind of divided. What's bigger? What's better? And the numbers, I think, kind of back this up. It's the second biggest sport in the United States.
This weekend coming up is such a great weekend, though, because you don't have the NFL. They're not back until the following week. So you have games starting on Thursday and ending on Monday. Like, it's a great weekend for college football. I will say this. We need to start college football in the United States. I don't like this. Like, Dublin has – Dan, I am serious about this, okay? Start your season in the United States, end your season in the United States. I don't want to hear about it. Dublin does not deserve to get college football's opener. Okay, they don't. And baseball, same thing. I don't want the season to start in China, end in the United States. I want it to start here, end here. Japan, wherever they're playing games. I don't want it. There are sports. Why are we giving the start of our seasons away to different countries? Why? Explain it to me.
You're yearning and longing for FSU Georgia Tech?
You know what? I'm yearning for a college game day that takes place in a place where they're comfortable. That's all. Like, to me, that starts the college football season, and those guys were out in unfamiliar territory.
That was a home game for the punter,
McAfee
right?
didn't look comfortable to you.
No, he did there. He did on his show. He was having a great time, McAfee. He was getting hammered. Like, that looked fun. But college game day did not to me. It didn't have energy. I mean, those guys are tired. I don't blame them.
I agree with you. College game day left something to be desired, and I think you can have your theories. It's not like there weren't FSU fans there giving Kirk Herbstreit the business, but you could say, hey, you would get the best atmosphere right in front of the stadium. That's when you maximize the people. And maybe, just maybe, this is a theory that they decided, knowing Kirk's relationship with the FSU fan base, let's kind of pull that back a little bit. Let's go for a great sweeping vista as opposed to the energy.
You don't think this is the power of Saban? Just like his energy? It's going to be toned down now. we're going to be serious. I don't know, because he's not
He
like a
sucked
guy.
the energy out
he's
of
like
it.
the opposite of Pat. I'm interested to hear what he says,
Right.
but he's the opposite of Pat McAfee in terms of just looking energetic.
He got high marks for what he was doing.
I saw some clips I liked.
Yeah, I enjoyed his perspective. I did take issue with one segment where they let Nick Saban speak for this upcoming NCAA ruling. I say that in air quotes because you have a collectively bargained thing that's not collectively bargained. And he's just carrying water for the NCAA because he was brought in by Ted Cruz to speak on the merits of, kind of bringing this back to the way that it was. And there wasn't a single dissenting voice on the dais. Keep in mind, I don't know how that got aggregated for me because I tweeted my thoughts on it. I guess because Ted Cruz was included in my tweet, people thought it was political. No, I'm just stating the fact. If you don't know that Nick Saban spoke to Congress as an invited guest about Ted Cruz, I'm not taking a political stance. I'm just showing you whose side he is very clearly on. And for this one major show that aspires to objectivity, for them to not have a dissenting voice and everyone kind of nod along with what the NCAA is trying to do, kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
Give Saban a couple weeks.
Yeah.
I guarantee you before the season's over, his shirt is off.
That's what we need, because he was giving off the vibes. You know what his office used to look like at Alabama? That's the vibes that he gives off. Yeah. Have you seen what the new coach's office looks like? It's like completely transformed. It's just like that's what I was feeling. Like I liked his content, but there's just something about Saban. It just gives off like brown wood.
Yeah, but they put him right next to McAfee, who doesn't give that off.
Yeah. Right.
And they're just
but he
hoping
does.
naturally.
No, but he gives it off after 30 Guinnesses. Come on. 30 Guinnesses will
Fair.
make you, and even someone with his stamina is going to have a hard time after 30 Guinnesses getting up on the following day.
I could see Saban he's torn. You could see it like he's processing because he said it himself. I have ripped analysts for preseason predictions, for all that stuff, and now I'm being asked to do it, and I don't want to do it. Eventually, 3 weeks from now, he's going to have to do it.
I saw this funny clip of just Pat McAfee at one point inexplicably barking, and you just see Saban just kind of like jarred by it and like looks to his left like, whoa, this guy's barking.
8-9 weeks, he's going to be barking right along with us.
Saban is still being calculated, saying that he's providing Alabama with reverse rat poison.
Miss Terry was also there, so Nick had to be on his best behavior. Like, you know how that goes.
Yeah.
I've got a number of things that I want to follow up on. First of all, Guinnesses have a higher alcohol content, do they not? Are they not like Labatt's, where Guinness has it's a heavier beer?
I can tell you what they have: more calories and worse taste.
But it's a darker. It's not. Is it not a larger alcohol content?
I'm saying it's only 4.2, which is a little above light beers like the fantastic Miller Lite.
The thing that Roy said earlier, saying that the Barbecue Hall of Famers that he beat, it was humbling to beat them. Can someone explain to me how it is that humbling is used there? Because I see it all the time in speeches used as humbling, and I think it's the opposite of humbling. I think you become even more grandiose when you feel like you've knocked off Hall of Famers to become a champion.
The Hall of Famers should be humbled.
I don't really understand and have never understood to be humbled by something that is an act that would bring you achievement and ego.
Well, I've been watching this show, Barbecue Pitmasters, for a very long time, and like that show is like 20 years old, man. And this is my second barbecue competition, so like the defeat these guys, like
that's prodigious. You're
good.
just
Humbling.
your second competition, and you're beating the
Not
likes of
humbling,
Tuffy.
though, but
I think
it's
it's
not
keeping
humble.
perspective, Dan. What they're trying to convey when someone wins something and they say they're humbled, they're just saying, I have perspective about this. Like, I'm not going to get above my britches here. Did I say that right? I'm going to stay humble.
Why would you be above your britches?
I don't know.
You get too big for them, but I don't think you ever get
You
above
can't be
them.
above
Yeah,
them, though.
yeah,
right?
I knew I had something cooking.
You knew there were
With
britches.
britches,
something in the
yeah.
oven there that
Okay.
it
slow
ended up
roast.
being a little
You
runny.
almost got
but
it. Yeah.
Baking the britches.
A few more minutes it needed in the oven.
Was Honey Monk there, Roy?
No, Honey Monk was not there. No.
When you mention, though, Nick Saban and the rules, the fact that he is without rebuttal going out there and just giving you the 78-year-old viewpoint of the former dictator coach, when the Miami of Ohio coach just says flatly, Alabama stole our kicker, the Lou Grosso Award winner, just says it flatly. Now he says we didn't lose our kicker. No, I know where he is. We had him stolen by Alabama. What rules are we following? Like what? I'm dead serious about this. I thought about this with Deion because Deion is again into it with the media, and I was actually thinking if the media really wanted to, I wonder what the damage would be if the media got together in Colorado and said we're not covering you anymore. Like this isn't the way that we're going to do this. We're going to boycott the coverage of you. I don't know if the media actually has any ground to stand on with him. I've heard Rob Parker and some others suggest this as, in defense of the media, but I don't think Deion at this point needs the local media in any way. I think he's playing a bigger game there. But when I see his assistant coach going to Saudi Arabia for NIL money, what rules are we following exactly?
Well, I think it tells you what a bad investment NIL might be for the Saudis to be like, I don't really see the return in this. What are we doing? No. This is.
We found the thing that they're like, you know what? I'm
this
good.
is one thing that they're like, this is reckless spending for sports. I don't think we're going to do this. What do we get from this? We get to say we're good? We don't have any ties to this. This is ridiculous. I don't need the network. I'm a sheik.
Do you think Alabama really had to steal the Miami of Ohio's kicker? Like you're making it seem like the Miami of Ohio kicker went against his will.
They're a kicker away.
You're at Miami of Ohio.
Historically, kicker has always been kind of like the Achilles heel.
Right.
I am not making the accusation. The Miami of Ohio coach is making the accusation.
Straight up on video, Stugotz. He said they just straight up stole my kick.
No, I understand that, but they didn't steal anything. He was playing for Miami of Ohio when Nick Saban came calling, and that's that.
Well, no, Stugotz, though, the thing I'm asking, though, is about rules. Like,
there are no rules.
What rules are we following?
They are following. The thing
he
is,
nailed it.
They are following rules.
You.
It's the NCAA likes to pretend like there aren't rules. Everybody still has to submit to the NCAA's rules. They're just not – they don't like the rules. They're allowing them to be, and what they're seeking from Congress is say, hey, just put us totally in charge. Don't have any checks and balances. We know what the rules should be, even though in the courts we're 0 for 24 challenging them.
Is the NCAA basically like a substitute teacher right now?
Toothless.
Like they're like the authority, but also like if you don't respect them, because like they don't even control the college football playoff anymore.
Right.
So like what are they going to do?
They haven't. That's a sneaky little thing. Like they haven't, and people really should dig into how much influence ESPN has over this stuff because it started bubbling up to the surface with FSU, and ESPN gets to play a plausible deniability game because it's not the ESPN CFP. Yes, it is. Yeah, it absolutely is. But I do think that you should have dissenting voices and have a nuanced conversation. Maybe that wasn't the place for it. Because Nick Saban did bring up points. There are points from this proposal that I think are really good. But also, I'm not for collective bargaining agreements that aren't collectively bargained. Who's the rep for the students? Do they have a union? This thing is just moving along, and it's going to get to the point where they just get rubber stamped by Congress, and now you've given total control of NIL to an entity that at every turn has tried to undo NIL.
Billy, I don't think the substitute teacher has the power to take a game from Kirk Ferentz. I think that there's still some power there. I just don't know. I don't feel like anyone listening to this knows what any of the rules are.
Compliance officers, schools still have to follow them, Dan. The NCAA still is in charge. They're just not getting what they want out of it because they're losing in court. So they want to stop being able to lose in court by just being granted safe harbor status. That's what they're looking for. Now, there's great ideas in their plan to fund non-revenue sports, and any plan that goes forward needs that. But you also need to kind of collectively bargain it with the revenue generators, the football players, the basketball players, and that's not happening.
I feel like if Iowa really wanted to fight for Kirk Ferentz, they could, right? But like this is also like, what will we look like without him coaching?
Mm-hmm.
The same. They'll just punt.
Well, we don't know.
We don't know.
I mean,
We'll
he's always
find out.
there.
Air raid. You got Iowa being an air raid.
Come on. All of a sudden, it's going to break out. It's going to be 6 wide receivers running in all directions. Chris Cody, at the end of this segment, we're going to go out to Dolphin Camp again, as we are every day this week in the local hour, to give Miamians some of the voices and players that they care about headed into football season. What do you know about the Jaelan Phillips interview that we're about to play here at the end of this segment?
I know that he was wearing short shorts in it. I know that at some point him and I discussed that. I know that we talk a lot about his injury, and we talk about his family, his support system, all his rocks, and it was really good. He's another one that there wasn't one that I walked out of being like, this was bad. He was good.
Okay, so we will get to that in a second. One of the things that I'm always amazed by, Stugotz, as athletes continue to get bigger, stronger, and faster, is a person like this, when you sit next to them, you're just sort of floored by the size and the scope of the athleticism. I know we like to criticize athletics because we played in high school, or we have opinions about that feel like sometimes professional sports, we cover it as if it's Little League. But the amount of time and effort and science being put into making these people giant machines, Stugotz. When I talk to baseball people, for example, my age of guys playing cards in the clubhouse, that's gone. Guys are working on their adductors. They're getting eye tests. Like, it's all science, and the intensity of it is nuts. Like, these guys are not going out drinking every night when they got a 162-game season in baseball. Like, what's happening now in the clubhouses is just a meticulous, obsessive science of crazy. And in football, where the bodies break, these people are so large as to not be believed that the athleticism can be contained in those bodies. So I want to show you a clip here of something, and I know Shady McCoy, LaShawn McCoy, as obvious by watching him on television, has not taken care of himself since retiring. Like, he's not he's not in the greatest of shape. He's not
Right.
It's not nice.
Well, watch this clip and watch him lose to Aaron Donald in a race, a former NFL running back, and watch the size and speed of Aaron Donald and how tired he's not because he just finished with football, and how tired LaShawn McCoy is because he's a couple of years removed from football and is no longer a running back. Like, it's crazy to think of Aaron Donald, someone that size, beating LaShawn McCoy in a foot race.
Yeah, but have that race like a year after LaShawn McCoy retires and see what happens. I mean, he dust him.
This is a defensive tackle. It's just, I have a harder time just reconciling with Aaron Donald not playing pro football this season.
Yeah.
He's still so good that I can't believe that he won't be dressing up at the end of the year and realize that he misses it some. He's so good, and he could be good for like 5 more years, like top guy in the league good.
I heard Howie Long talking about Bo Jackson and how Bo Jackson just sort of parachuted out of the sky because he was playing baseball and then just started carrying a football in a football game. If Aaron Donald wants to join a contender because he's bored toward the end of the season, like, I'm thinking a whole lot of people are going to want Aaron Donald on their team, and he wouldn't have to do training camp or any of the other stuff. And I imagine that he's got I don't know if his physical freakness is something that he would want to work out the way he would have to over the next 8 weeks, but why couldn't Aaron Donald come back and have a feeding frenzy over whether or not to sign him?
I don't know how much time was left on his contract. The Rams could still very well have his rights, and if he were to come back, he'd have to either come to some sort of agreement if it wasn't with the Rams, or he could just easily microwave that deal up. We've seen it with pass rushers, even though he's a unique pass rusher because he's a defensive tackle. He's a nose tackle, doing unprecedented things at that position, not really since Warren Sapp. But that's one of those positions that we've seen dating back as young as I could remember. Charles Haley getting the call like in the wintertime, hey, we need a pass rusher. Are you available? Like, those guys are just so unique. Julius Peppers was another way around it. Like, we see Clowney's kind of been in this cycle recently. Like, hey, you're a mercenary pass rusher. We'll get you. You don't have to do any of the camp stuff. Don't worry. You have a skill that no one else has, really.
We'll get to the Jaelan Phillips interview in a second, Stugotz, but let me just play a clip for the audience.
I believe if Aaron Donald does come back, he would have to play for the Rams. So it's going to be interesting to see if they're contending late in the season if he wants to make a little run.
If he's bored and wants to make it back, it would be fun to watch. But the size of Jaelan Phillips, the speed of Jaelan Phillips is obviously how many Jaelens do the Dolphins have? Is it 4, 5? They've got an assortment of Jaelens.
No one who has thighs like this, though. I mean,
Here is Jaelen Phillips just talking about when he was injured, because it's so hard, Stugotz, when your body betrays you and your body is the thing that supports the entire economy around you. It can be heartbreaking, but I was surprised to see and hear how positive he was immediately after what has been a wreck of an injury for a lot of guys.
What would you describe as the worst of it, where you got doubt and heartbreak because you've climbed all the way back from something? Never mind that it's a death sentence, just you rely on your body for your living. So when it betrays you, you're never expecting it. You guys all feel bulletproof, even though what you're doing is dangerous.
Yeah, no, that's very true. I mean, I think the most devastating part was when it initially happened. But pretty quickly after that, I just knew that if I didn't have the right mindset, then it could swallow me up and I could like really get in a negative headspace. And so literally like 20 minutes after it happened, when I got into the shower by myself, I'm just sitting there, and I just had a moment I remember distinctly where I literally just like thank God. I said thank you for this opportunity, because it's going to make me stronger at the end of the day. And so I know I'll get over it. I know it'll take some time. It'll be frustrating, but ultimately I do feel like it's all a part of the plan. And what's a good story without a little drama? So
20 minutes afterward? 20 minutes afterward, instead of feeling sorry for yourself, you're conscious about adjusting your mindset.
Yeah, I had to, because at the end of the day, I'm the only person who can control my mindset, right? Everybody can be around me trying to lift me up and trying to be positive for me, but at the end of the day, if I'm not positive with myself and I don't have, a positive mindset, then I'm not going to be able to heal properly. I'm not going to be in that right headspace. So, I pretty much instantly, and thankfully, I dealt with some injury and adversity before, so this time around, I felt ready for it.
He just kind of touched on the injury and adversity before. That guy sitting there, a specimen coming off an Achilles injury, he just kind of glossed over. He almost medically retired at UCLA because his injuries were so bad. When that injury happened against the Jets, I was watching thinking, like, there's a genuine shot. This is the last time we ever see Jaelen Phillips on a field because of all the other injuries that he's had to overcome. And I don't know. I'm not a Dolphin fan. Is he not even starting the season on the PUP list? Like, he's ready to go?
No, he thinks he's going to be ready for game one.
That's insane.
Yeah, it is nuts. Chris, how did you feel about how you looked there? You weren't too close to him. You
calm, cool, collected.
It was awkward, but not as awkward as some of what it is we had fun with last week. It was still awkward.
That was the first one we did, I believe, too. But, I think Tua just made me nervous. I think the rest of them you're going to see smooth sailing.
I think with each passing one, you got a little bit closer until we got to Tua, and then you were sitting on him. I mean,
where did Tua rank? Like, where was he on the timeline of the interviews for that day? Oh,
yeah.
So you were cool, and then you got to Tua, and then you got nervous.
The rare, it's Tua though.
It's
Everyone
a quarterback.
Else
it's QB1.
Right.
Yeah.
Look at that smile. I'd cower.
Billy, you said earlier that you and Stugotz are going to be in Kansas City next week. What is God Bless Football going to be doing in Kansas City next week?
Oh, we're going to be there. I don't know if you heard, Dan. NFL season kicks off next week.
Yeah.
Chiefs, Ravens. We're going to be there. We're going to be covering it. Part of DraftKings coverage that day. We're going to be there. Come check us out. I believe, I don't know if I should say this, I believe we're going to be in the parking lot live covering, all things football that day. We're going to be there. We're going to record our episode. Gojo and Golic are going to be there also. And then there's going to be a 3-hour, I don't know if I should say any of this, there's going to be a 3-hour pregame show that's going to be going on. It's going to feature a lot of people out there. We're going to be part of that.
Why shouldn't you be saying this?
Well, I don't
Shouldn't
know
we
what's
be
out and what's not out. Exactly right. Yeah.
Well, but you're the one who volunteered
Lips are
you were going to be
sealed
in Kansas City. No.
I said that?
You said it in the first segment
No,
today.
I said the Barbecue Hall of Fame's in Kansas City.
No, you said you were going to be in Kansas City.
No,
I
Stu said we could check it out. Yeah.
When you say there's a bunch of people for this pregame show, can you give us any teasers?
No, the who's who of the what's what.
All right.
Yep. Well said.
All right, good promotion as always. God Bless Football, a rollicking joyride. You should check it out when it gets to Kansas City. Details pending.
Really proud of us for talking about the Florida State-Georgia Tech game and not mentioning once that Florida State lost that game, really. We didn't harp on it at all. Number 10 ranked FSU that spent
What
the
does it
entire
matter anymore? You
offseason-
can lose whenever you want.
Well,
It doesn't
no.
make a difference.
Spent the entire
Ridiculous.
offseason complaining about what was owed to them, and they come out and they lose to Brent Key's Ramblin' Rack.
But Billy is so right. That's one of the things that has changed. You can no longer say, and I said it anyway, if you're going to lose early. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter anymore.
Lose whenever the hell you want. Just don't lose more than twice.
Exactly.
The Big Ten and SEC must be looking at themselves like, man, we got to get our hands on that team.
If you're Alabama, you can lose 4 times and still get in. It doesn't make a difference.
That's true. I continued my ACC scout to Reno, Nevada, to see how SMU would treat their first game as a member of the ACC, and that one was a little touch and go. Not great.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju. Was McAfee a Ramblin' wreck? That was a lot of fun, that football game, and I will tell you again, I am truly amazed at what happens when you have an off-season of preparation for your first drive. Because Florida State ran the ball in a way that I'm like, oh, what everyone was saying, yeah, their offensive line is too big. It's going to be too big, and that's what the analysis was of everyone but Seamus.
Seamus killed it. Seamus killed it. As I think Saban co-signed on the notion that FSU had the best defensive line unit in the nation.
And they run the ball so easily on the first drive. I didn't look at the final numbers, but I'm guessing if you take the first drive out in terms of rushing attempts, that Florida State probably had fewer than 2 yards a carry in that game.
Couple glaring issues. Their quarterback doesn't seem to want to throw the ball downfield, and when he does so inaccurately.
It was so dink and dunk. But let's get now, without further ado, Stugotz, to this Dolphin Camp interview with Jaelen Phillips.
One of the tribulations is sweaty socks and feet. I would have thought of all the thousands of things out there that are unpleasant to practice in, I wouldn't have thought that would have made the list.
That's probably the number one tribulation, to be honest. Wow. That's the worst part about it, especially when it starts raining out here and then your whole socks and shoes are wet and then it dries up and then you just got to run and you're squishing every step and it's brutal.
It's nice to see you back healthy and happy. Last time that we had spoken to you, moments later, you had the injury, and then we're watching you crying on Hard Knocks, and we all felt for you because of how awful that seemed. So you're feeling good now? You're expected to be out there as soon as they start, which is ahead of schedule, is it not?
Yeah, I mean, when I started, they basically told me it's anywhere between 9 and 12 months. And then some people, I think Cam Akers had like a 5-month recovery, right? So, as years have gone by, like the technology and everything has gotten a lot better. And so the timelines have shortened over time. I mean, I was talking to Dan and stuff back in his day, it's almost like a death sentence. And so at this point, they kind of told me anywhere between 9 to 12. And so for me, I'm pretty happy with where I'm at.
Did you just drop a casual talking to Dan reference?
Yeah,
Dan
Uncle
Marino?
Dan.
Uncle Dan. Right. Yeah.
What would you describe as the worst of it, where you got doubt and heartbreak because you've climbed all the way back from something? Never mind that it's a death sentence, just you rely on your body for your living. So when it betrays you, you're never expecting it. You guys all feel bulletproof, even though what you're doing is dangerous.
Yeah, no, that's very true. I mean, I think the most devastating part was when it initially happened. But pretty quickly after that, I just knew that if I didn't have the right mindset, then it could swallow me up and I could really get in a negative headspace. And so literally 20 minutes after it happened, when I got into the shower by myself, I'm just sitting there and I just had a moment I remember distinctly where I literally just thank God. I said, thank you for this opportunity because, it's going to make me stronger at the end of the day. And so I know I'll get over it. I know it'll take some time. It'll be frustrating, but ultimately I do feel like it's all a part of the plan. And, what's a good story without a little drama? So
20 minutes afterward? 20 minutes afterward, instead of feeling sorry for yourself, you're conscious about adjusting your mindset.
Yeah, I had to, because at the end of the day, I'm the only person who can control my mindset, right? Everybody can be around me trying to lift me up and trying to be positive for me. But at the end of the day, if I'm not positive with myself and I don't have, a positive mindset, then I'm not going to be able to heal properly. I'm not going to be in that right headspace. So, I pretty much instantly, and, thankfully I dealt with some injury and adversity before. So this time around, I felt ready for it.
Where is it along the path that your strength has been tested so that you actually know how mentally strong you are beyond injuries? Or is it just the teaching of the injuries?
I mean, I think my whole transition, going from UCLA to the U, and then, coming to the league, obviously, it was a big maturation phase for me, just moving all the way across from my family and kind of just having to bootstrap up and change my life around. I came into the U at 210 pounds and, kind of a shell of myself when it came to my self-confidence and my self-belief. And so slowly just gaining that back, feeling like myself again, and just going through that. I think that was the first time in my life that I truly went through, a time of big trials and errors or trials and tribulations. And so ever since then, it's continuous, right? I'm still learning and I'm still learning how to deal with things when they come along, but I definitely feel better suited for adversity when it comes around nowadays than I was, when I was 17, 18 years old. So injuries have played a part in that, but it's also just life. You guys know, going through things happen. So it's really about how you attack it afterwards and how you respond.
In those moments, do you lean on people? Who's there for you? Who are you going through this with? Who are you learning from?
Yeah, my family is my number one rock, my number one support system. My mom and my dad, they're great because my mom is really emotional and her and I are super close. We talk for, hours almost every day. And then my dad is he's a lawyer, so he's very analytical, very logically thinking. And so he kind of gives me insight and perspective. And then my mom really is there for the emotional support piece, my sister, my grandfather. I have a really good tribe around me. And then obviously within the facility, within the building, I have, especially when it comes to injuries, an amazing training staff, amazing strength staff. The coaches, they all have respect for me and they all have been pushing me along and supporting me, and then my teammates as well. So really anywhere I look, I have support.
Are those one collective rock, or are those separate rocks next to each other?
Sounds like mom's the rock.
Yeah.
Sounds like mom's the rock.
Mom is definitely a big rock, and then my dad is that supporting rock.
So there are multiple rocks. It's not just total
exactly.
Smaller rocks. But Mom, if you're talking to one with several hours a day, the others are ancillary
pebbles,
rocks.
I might even call them.
Don't call us dad.
Yeah,
I'm saying the friends, the teammates are more like pebbles. Mom's a rock.
I said it first. He didn't hear me. Chris said it.
We'll say it's like a Jenga. We'll say it's like a Jenga structure.
There we go.
Because each one is important, right? And so it's my mom is probably the foundation, or maybe she's at the top, because then, in theory, if the pebbles and stuff underneath are out, then the whole thing falls over. So point being, I got a lot of rocks. A lot of rocks in my family. And they do a great job for me.
You said hours a day. That has to be an exaggeration. You're not talking to your mother hours a day.
Maybe a little bit of an exaggeration, but there are days we talk for hours, for sure. But I'd say, we definitely try to talk every single day, whether it's talk or text. And when we get on the phone, it's at least an hour every time. So hours might have been an exaggeration, but,
So explain to me where they are along your path on support, because the best part of these rides, right? You've told us before about how meaningful all of this is to you, doing it in Miami, being a part of the things that have happened to you in Miami. The best part of some of what it is you do is being able to share it with others who get the view. I imagine your parents didn't quite have the mindset 20 minutes after your injury that you did, because they were heartbroken for you, because they know how much you care about this.
Yeah, absolutely. They were all there too, my mom, dad, and sister. And they came down in the tunnel afterwards, and I think they were just more concerned about me. Obviously they were disappointed. They don't get to see me anymore, and they love watching me, and they support everything that I do. But I think my mom especially was more so worried about how I was feeling. And I think me coming out of the locker room with a smile on my face, telling them this is going to be okay, I think that really eased their mind.
That's super unusual in your position. You know that, right? Most guys break down. The body is the economy for a lot of different things. People don't rebound as quickly as you do mentally. That's not normal. You know this, right?
Yeah, I guess. I don't want to I'm not tooting my own horn, because frankly, I've had my ups and downs. I'm not going to act like I've been perfect through this whole time or anything, but I do think that my prior experiences and obviously the support system I have and what they've taught me since I was young, I think has really kind of molded me and adjusted. My dad, like I said, he's the analytical one, so he's really helped me with mindset wise, just not worrying about things that are out of my control. And with this Achilles, it happened, right? So I can't change it. I can't do anything about it. So at that point, it's my decision whether I cower or not cower, but whether I just like wallow in self-misery or if I like bootstrap up and really just attack it with a positive mindset. So that's what I chose to do.
When you were young, did you dream of being a musician or an athlete? Like, what were you dreaming as a career?
First, I wanted to be a lawyer, like my dad. I wanted to go to Stanford and get like an academic degree. I really didn't think about sport. I played sports. I played travel ball, baseball, football, a little bit of basketball here and there, but I didn't really start thinking about football as a career until I started getting offers in high school. And that's when I was like, okay, maybe I can actually do something with this. And then the music really came back into my life when I retired from UCLA and really thought I was done with football. So then I had to figure out what I was going to do with my life and figure out what my identity was outside of football. So that's when it kind of, became real for me in the music sense. And then, with football, kind of like I said, once I started getting offers, started having aspirations, like, okay, maybe, I'll go to big college and go to the NFL. And then especially after my senior year, ranked #1 in the nation, coming into UCLA, I kind of just assumed that, I'm going to continue on this linear path, go first round, do all that stuff. And so it was a shock. It was definitely kind of a big eye-opener when things didn't go that way. But I think it was a blessing at the end of the day because it just made me so much more like rooted in myself as a person outside of football and outside of what I do.
Chris and I are making faces over here because of the choices. I mean,
certain kind of athlete that's just like, I just got this D1 scholarship. Oh wait, I guess I'll consider football.
Well, not only
now.
that, professional athlete, and if that doesn't work out, lawyer. Yeah.
Real slacker.
My family is high achieving. My sister just graduated from Harvard Law. She's going to be working in a big firm in New York.
Smart rocks.
Yeah, smart rocks for sure. So yeah,
I was dumb as rocks. I thought it was dumb as rocks, not smart rocks.
I just knew whatever I was going to do that I was going to be the best at it and always achieve to be more than average and try to do something great with my life.
Put us in the bathroom when you found the iguana in your toilet.
Yeah.
Just put
That's a crazy way to start a sentence. Put us in the bathroom.
Put us in your bathroom. Close to you in your bathroom.
You said when I found the iguana?
Yeah.
So my girlfriend at the time had called me, and it was like right after practice, and I think she texted me. She was like, "There's a lizard in the bathroom. Like, I have to call like an exterminator, this and that." And I'm like, "It can't be that bad, right?" She didn't send a picture or whatever. So I get home, and she was like, "It's in the bathroom," and she had put like a towel underneath the door. And I'm like, still, it can't be that bad. I took a peek. I said, hell no. This is not for me. Like, I'm kind of squeamish when it comes to like reptiles and bugs and stuff like that. And so I saw him poking his little head up. Not little, he was kind of big. He was like this size. Like, he wasn't like a biggest iguana in the world, but he was not small. And so yeah, he was chilling in that bathroom in the toilet, making it his home. I'm like, shit, he can have it, honestly. I'm cool off this, but called the exterminator. He came through. He handled the business. And
well, what's the backstory? She gets to the toilet and is about to use it, and that's the worst nightmare scenario.
Oh my God. A snake would be worse. But
yeah, a snake would be way worse for sure.
Yeah.
No, I don't think she like got caught using it. I think she just like opened it, or maybe my cat was like freaking out or something like that.
Sensed it, right?
I'm gonna hope it was my cat, because like what is he worth other than that? If he's not sniffing out the danger for me.
Squeamish around bugs. What are the bugs that we're most likely to walk into your house? You've seen one, and now this giant. Yes, right up there, standing on a chair.
He scared me.
Standing on a chair.
I was always an arachnophobe growing up, so I hated spiders.
Okay, that's what that is.
And then, after that, I just hate bugs in general. And Florida, has a surplus of bugs and animals of all sorts. Right. So I love animals. I love seeing all the animals outside, but not in my sanctuary.
From a distance,
not in my,
yes.
Exactly. I like to observe them, maybe not touch them or witness them up front.
But spiders, you're legitimately scared of spiders.
I think I've gotten over that a little bit now, but I used to definitely be screaming, have my mom or sister come get it for me, squeamish.
How about the flying cockroaches we have down here?
Oh yeah,
well,
you enjoy
I didn't
those?
know about that, but thanks for unlocking it. Thanks for unlocking a new fear. I wasn't worried about them now, but I am now. So yeah, thanks, Dan.
Thank you for being on with us. We appreciate the time with you, and we are really happy. It's been a pleasure to watch your work at both Miamis, and we're very happy that you're pass rushing again.
He's interested in being an audio engineer, Dan, and we have an internship available. I mean,
do you?
What do you think? Yes.
I'll get you guys right.
That's how Ryan Clark,
soundboard,
Ryan Clark, while he was playing for the Steelers, now that was ESPN. It's not Metal Arc Media, but if you want to be an audio engineer, we're there for you.
Yeah, This summer, I'll hit you guys up. We'll do a little internship.
Summer internship. I like
It's
that.
not high-achieving standard stuff. You're going to be a failure in your family. But
No, not a failure.
I'll have to tell my daughter she's not getting that internship.
My dad
now.
loves your show, so it wouldn't be a failure.
By the
in
way,
his
how
eyes,
did
for
I
sure.
do on the short shorts, by the way? What's your
These are great.
preference
No,
on the seam?
these are from Southern California.
What's
Those
your
are,
preference on the inch seam? What's your
it's
preference?
got to be 7 or less.
Yeah, that's
so
what
I'm
I'm
going with like 7 to 5.
I knew you'd come correct, so I was like,
I don't want to be
I mean,
weird, but
these are like 3 to 5 inch right here.
he likes showing off
I like
the
to,
thighs.
yeah, I like
It's
to
a lot
walk
of
around with
thighs.
these
It's a
shorts.
lot of
single
thighs.
family could live in those thighs right there. I mean,
A
geez.
family of German tourists can live in that thigh. Thank you, sir.
You got me blushing over here.
Aaron Donald's locker is fully intact.
What just happened there, Stugotz?
I was watching a story about Adam Schefter. I forgot that we started. Stugotz happened there, but his locker is fully intact.
But the last,
they're keeping the seat
the
warm,
last
Dan.
thing that we told you is that
I know
it
what
was
you
a
told me.
countdown,
I
and
was
that
here.
You
I
were
know.
talking
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
Look, he's fried.
My bad.
I don't
Yeah.
know what the Grateful Dead have done to him.
Nothing.
I know. I need to tell people what just happened in the eating area with you and me.
Mm-hmm.
Commissary.
Yeah.
And apologies to
Fine.
all of you beer elitists who have corrected me on Labatt's.
That was a weird comp. Didn't want to embarrass you.
Labatt's.
And I understand why you think it's stronger, just because it's heavier. It's heavier. It's creamy. It sits in your stomach. But the ABV is nothing really that strong.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, well, it is with Labatt's. Labatt's.
I don't know why you're comparing, like, one's a stout, Labatt. I mean,
it's a heavier, darker beer. I thought darker beers had
Labatt?
a big. I thought
Labatt. They got the blues and the lights. I don't think of Labatt.
I think we're all saying the same thing.
I
The
don't
only
think we
beer
are.
worth talking about is Miller Lite.
Yeah. Although
that's
you're in luck that Labatt has several partnerships across the DKN network.
Mm-hmm.
All right, because I watch that all the time. I've seen a big sign behind Ross Tucker, but here, just so we're clear, this is a Miller Lite show.
I know it is.
And
96
hey, Roy, out of
calories.
curiosity,
Great taste. I
when you
mean,
were winning your barbecue
filling.
competition, I'm
Yes.
sure debates sprouted everywhere. What is the best way
Yeah.
to barbecue? Since the dawn of mankind, man has been having this debate. But one thing that's not up for debate,
Yep.
the undebatable quality of Miller Lite.
You tell them.
Oh, it's
Things
low and
have
slow, by
changed
the way.
over the last couple of years, you know? One thing that hasn't changed, great taste of Miller Lite. And
Yeah.
another thing that hasn't changed, less filling. Only 96 calories per 12 ounces.
You know, they sparked this debate way back in the 1970s.
the
Yeah.
original light beer.
I was in the eating area with Stugotz,
Commissary.
and
Fine.
he says to me, "I've always liked to say that you can lose during the college football season. You just have to lose early."
If you're going to lose early. Yeah.
Used to be the case.
But you can still say that.
Well, you can't really. No. I mean,
Doesn't hit the same.
yeah. Just don't lose 3 times. Is
Yeah.
really. It doesn't matter when you lose. I mean,
If you lose too early now, you could say, I guess.
right. There was a charm with losing the first week game, you know? It was like your season was over. I didn't even feel bad for Florida State. Like, their season is they still have plenty to play for.
Oh, but their season is over because their quarterback's not good enough. Like that, you can't. They're not going to dink and dunk their way to anything. Like their season is over.
Time will tell. I mean,
That is it's not because their season is over because they lost that game. It's because that game reveals to you that they're not going to be that good. Their quarterback is why they were undefeated last season, and the reason they weren't in the national championship game is because their quarterback got hurt.
Right.
And they replaced that quarterback with a quarterback who wasn't that good at Clemson when people were hoping he'd beat Trevor Lawrence, and he was okay at Oregon State, but he wasn't great. Like, we know what that quarterback is, and it's not good enough.
Last week, their collective went on the record with a media company that escapes me, but they were asking for their approach when it comes to NIL, and they said, our NIL spend is 70-30. Why waste all this money on a high school kid if you can just spend it in the portal with more known commodities? Whether they knew it or not, like that is already getting circulated by all the other coaches and showing that to every high school parent that there can be about how you approach recruiting. I do think that for 2 years there was validity to their argument, which is, look at us. We came all the way back because we hit the portal. But if you don't back up the portal with a recruiting base and actually have kids develop in your program, you can have a house of cards situation, which I think Florida State has, because you're only as good as your ability to close top-level talent in the portal, and that can change year to year. It wasn't as strong a portal this year as it was previously, and they got really juiced up on a bunch of guys that came from big programs like LSU and Alabama, but weren't actually playing in these programs, LSU and Alabama. They just figure, oh, you weren't getting an opportunity there. You can be the player that you truly are capable of being here, and that's not always the case.
Stugotz, you say that it's better to lose early, but Miami in 2000 lost to Washington in week 2. What would you say about that?
No, but Roy, you can no longer say it because 12 teams made the playoff. So, I mean, doesn't matter. It's not 4 teams anymore. It's not 2 teams like it used to be. It's 12 teams. I mean, Florida State can very well still make the playoff.
There also, Stugotz kind of touched on it very briefly, and we moved away from it. There was a great feeling about losing early and knowing your season was done after week 1 or 2, right? Because then you just knew, you know what? Let's just enjoy the rest of this ride. There's no pressure. We're not going to make the playoffs. We're not going to play for the national championship. Let's just ride this out. Let's enjoy this. Let's enjoy the team, the coach. Let's just all go for this ride together. And then best case scenario, we win out, and then we complain about being shafted at the end of the year because we lost week 1 and it didn't matter that much anyways.
This happened to me in bowling where I'm trying to get a perfect game, obviously. I had one game where I opened the first frame, and it took all the pressure off for the perfect game, and I got striked out the rest of the way. So I had 11 straight strikes. I ended up with 279, my best game ever. But it was all because that first game, I got the loss out of the way early.
Wow.
No pressure.
What'd you get that first frame?
A 9 open.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah.
That'll kill you.
If I make fun of you, Stugotz, for doing what a lot of people did on the opening drive of the college football season, and everyone, you should have seen my phone light up with everyone saying, whoa, FSU's going to be good. Look out. Like, because they just kept running the ball 14 yards at a time, and everyone had that reaction. And now I've pulled in the other direction after 4 full quarters of seeing something that didn't look like that. And I'm like, yeah, their season's over. They're not good enough. But I don't believe in Georgia Tech. I believe that Georgia Tech is just another team. However, I am prone to being wrong here in a number of different ways because I don't know who's in the ACC. I don't know anymore. Like, if we did a quiz right now on where is everybody, like, where's California? I'm guessing that Stugotz is going to take a lot of guesses before he arrives at where is California playing football this year.
Big Ten?
ACC.
Oh, man.
Cal, Stanford, ACC, SMU, fought like hell to get in the ACC, get in the ACC, fought like hell to win a game at Nevada.
So nothing on Chris's bowling, huh? I mean,
I've got nothing on that. It does take the pressure off. I'm sure failing to get a strike on the first one is going to make it so that we all
settle down.
We just all realize that there's going to be more pressure on the last one than there is on any roll you have before that.
But if I bowl 7 straight to start, my knees are shaking.
Of course.
On that 8th frame.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Wow, it's crazy how that one pin, a 9 open, cost you, 21 points? Crazy. Yeah.
I think Georgia Tech's going to be solid this year. I think they're going to improve year over year under that head coach. They're finally starting to recruit. If you look at the commitments, they got a 5-star commit there. They're starting to recruit an area that you could argue has the best high school talent in the nation in Georgia, and they've never run a style that kind of was enticing for the local talent to play in, and now they are. And they got a good head coach. They have a veteran quarterback that is the worst type of quarterback that you can go up against, which is an experienced guy that can also run the ball. I don't think on defense they're really that good. Their defensive line looked really good, but I think they were aggressive, and then they grew into that game because they realized, Uiagalele is not going to actually throw the ball downfield. We can actually be aggressive with our blitzes and get more pressure on this guy. But that is a secondary that you can make an argument in Georgia Tech was the worst secondary in the ACC last year.
Just to be clear, I do think that Georgia Tech is going to be improved, and I do think Georgia Tech is going to be relevant. I just don't think they're one of the best 12 teams in the country. And I think that Florida State's struggling that way against them when I've been told that they were going to have an offensive and defensive line size advantage. And then I'm watching the game and I'm like, nah, this is the same team that got exposed at the end when their quarterback got hurt. Because you need great quarterback play with all of those athletes. It can't just be athletes and your quarterback wants to throw it 4 yards every time.
And I do think people touting their defensive line, there was legitimacy to it. Darrell Jackson was a very good player for Miami. He didn't play all of last year, only played in that bowl game, which was a disaster. But they were attacking Darrell Jackson. And I'm not going to lie to you and say Darrell Jackson's a bad player. I don't know what happened there.
This is why, though, I'm making the assessment I'm making, which I can be accused of the overreaction. You can complain about the offense all you want in that game. That was 3rd and 17 late. All you got to do is hold them to something that isn't a screen pass for 12 yards. Like, that's 3rd and 7. Georgia Tech gave you the game back by going backwards 10 yards. And all you need to do there is just 3rd and 17, they're not going to throw the ball down the field. You need to get them out of field goal range and keep them out of field goal range.
We are back.
Yeah, Dan, you're overthinking this. Stugotz pointed it out. I mean, this is early, and it's just one loss.
Right.
Florida State gets right back out there for the second game of Week 1 next week, and they who do they take on?
Boston College, I believe.
Boston College, yeah.
This
Boston
is
College.
who scheduled this? Week 0 in Dublin, and then right back at it following week, another conference
Then
game.
Memphis.
They get a Monday night game, though, I believe, right?
They had 3
Labor
straight
Day?
home. Yeah, Labor Day.
They
have
almost
3 straight
lost
home
last
games.
year at Boston College.
Well, this one's at home, so they have Boston College, Memphis, Cal. They could be 3-1. Then they head out to SMU. What are we thinking there? That's probably another W. 4-1. They're right back in the thick of it. Remember, you just need to be in the top 12, Dan.
Got to put the town on alert for
Then
that
you have
Memphis
Clemson.
game.
Wow.
And Memphis is
town on alert.
Yeah, Memphis can beat them.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Memphis
we'll
is
say
quite talented.
maybe 1 and 2 then, but Cal. That's
Billy,
a win.
I know
2
you're.
and 2.
I know you're dying to do.
Then they have SMU.
Ott's a
I'm
really
not
good
doing
running
this
back.
with you.
I'd like to do this dance with
I
him.
know, but Cal out of the Big Ten. I
Well,
mean,
where's that game? Is that in Tally?
Which
not
one?
doing
Cal
this with
is a
Cal.
home game for FSU.
All right,
yeah,
enough.
yeah.
So
They're third of 3
thank you,
straight
Billy.
homes.
I know you're desperate to do wins and losses. I know you want to do a schedule. You can go in another room and do it by yourself if
What?
you want. If you
Wow,
want
that's
to just
what
go
how
through
those
break it
people
down the
consume
game.
it.
I mean,
Look at those
Florida
odds
State people
stats. These are
texting you.
Here's
real
the
fun
thing
right
is
now.
that we're getting close, Dan. Like this week and next week are the last weeks that we can do preseason W's and L's and O's and U's. And if we're going to get to them, we got to get to them
Yeah,
soon.
do them on God Bless Football. I look
all right.
forward
We
to.
will.
I
All
look
right, thank
forward
you.
to hearing
I got
all
it.
of that on God
Appreciate
Bless
some of our
Football.
good
permission,
stuff
yes.
here. Yeah.
I prefer you
Share
not
the
do
wealth.
it here. Yes,
Oh.
don't need it here. Thank you.
All right.
Could do without it for the rest of my life. Appreciate it.
Oh,
Tried.
wow.
I mean,
The rest of your life.
Yes, don't need any of it.
You want to
In
do our
fact,
preseason college
fact,
football
look,
playoff teams? We could do that.
Here's a request. I haven't asked you guys for anything after my death. Just one rule. He's never allowed to do that here. Just never, ever allowed. Like, it's the only request I have
after you die.
after I've died.
Right.
Well, and
Oh.
before I've died as well. I just like
I
to.
thought you already
So he
died.
can never do it.
Confused.
He can never do it.
Why?
Not when I'm alive, not after I'm alive. Out of respect for me after I've passed. It's a dying wish.
Put it in writing, though. It's gotta
Well,
be-
no, I'm doing that now. You can put it in writing for me. I'm telling everybody. I'm not going to put it in writing because I need it formally. I'm telling all of you these are my wishes.
Is this specific to FSU?
It's everybody. I would prefer you never to do wins and losses
Well,
looking at a
it's
schedule
unfortunate,
again here. But God bless football, all you want. It's why you're the 5th-ranked international football insider.
I have a bone to pick with who was the
we're picking bones now.
the Atlantic? Is that who it was that did it? Who was it that put that out there? They moved our
You're asking
guy.
us?
They moved our guy off of that beat, so now he's covering soccer or something. Ollie. So now there's never going to be rankings again. So I peaked.
That's it.
Yeah,
The Duke finishes ranked
peaked at
5th.
4th.
But the
Fourth
last time it came out, you were on there, so you can just say
Yeah,
forever
I was.
you're the 4th rank.
Yeah, but I
Right.
can't keep continuing to work up. I can't work my way up here.
I am remiss, though, in not talking about Stugotz locally, what is approaching, which Mike Ryan has said for the business of Miami football is the biggest game in program history. And I've got an announcement to make because I don't know if all of you saw this. Paul Finebaum says it is time for the U to return to national prominence.
Wow.
It's been said. It has been said. What do you mean, Billy?
What does
That's
that
not
mean?
important.
It's time for them.
Play
to.
along, Billy. Do the show with me. It's time for the U to return to national prominence. Paul Finebaum has said it. A national voice has said that it is now time. It is time right now. I don't know if he's predicting, if he's putting, it's not even an upset if Miami wins at Florida.
It wasn't last year. It's not next year. It's right now.
It's right now. Yeah, it's right now. It's time right now, this minute.
There's been so much rat poison, and the media has been very positive with Miami's chances. Favored by 2.5 at the Swamp. Very heavy public money coming in on Miami there. But I think I figured it out, like why people like Paul Finebaum are sharing this sentiment, which is, all right, it's been long enough. Let's get the U back. And it has nothing to do with Miami. It has everything to do with ESPN hating FSU, I think. Because it's legit. FSU, they hate you. You haven't made it easier for yourself, though. Like, you thought there were all these conspiracy theories. It might have genuinely been Jordan Travis got hurt. But, okay, F it, we're here now. You're going to go after us? Yeah, bring Miami back. Let's take that program out once and for all. FSU, flash in the pan. That's what they're probably thinking.
You were talking earlier about Herbstreit and FSU, and I know that he's been vocal. He's the face of college football and FSU. Man, Stugotz, in my lifetime, there hasn't been a college football fan base that will react reasonably to what happened to FSU last year. Like that,
absolutely, yes.
I mean, it's really hard to go unbeaten in that sport, and so anyone at FSU who is legitimately bothered by that, you can only offer condolences because any fan base would be rabidly hating anyone who did that to them when they went undefeated, and they clearly looked all season like they had fixed the program in a way that it hadn't felt since Bobby Bowden. So, well, Jimbo Fisher with Jameis Winston, I guess.
He won a national championship. Yeah, they lost their quarterback, though. I mean, they lost their starting quarterback. One of the main reasons they got to that point was.
Okay, but that's.
But you're right. Any fan base would react the same way because you have. Well, Mike, no, you have an undefeated team not making it to a playoff.
I mean, say not the same way in that Georgia, and someone made this point on game day, they weren't even allowed to say, hey, we kind of got screwed over by the CFP, because if it's about getting the 4 best teams in there, Georgia is one of the 4 best teams. They weren't even allowed to gripe because they had won national championships, and FSU was complaining so loudly. So not every fan base reacts that way, because Georgia certainly didn't.
No, wait. Georgia lost.
Yeah, they lost to Alabama in an ACC championship game, and the arguments that were holding FSU out, if you held it up as like, all right, if our job is to get the 4 best teams here, Georgia should have been in it.
I remember many years ago when BYU would go undefeated against nobody, and we were just asking sports writers who should be champion and remembering their outrage. UCF ran through this same thing. If Georgia hadn't lost, Georgia and any other fan base would react with poison to the idea of football randomly happening to their quarterback at a bad time and it totally nuking a season for reasons that had nothing to do with how good they were. Just football happened, and I'm surprised that hasn't happened more often, but it just speaks to how hard it is to go undefeated. Because football happening at the end and ruining FSU's season, I totally understand why it is that FSU would feel persecuted in every realm by being wronged because they felt they had rightly earned something. Furthermore, adding to it, sports is supposed to be a meritocracy. If you win all your games, you get to play another one that matters. That's always how it's been.
Yeah, I was in agreement with you, and I'm really looking forward to this year because there are legitimate gripes. And FSU, by the way, in their history, has been the benefactor of very kindly given national titles. If you look at some of those, they've actually been the belle of the ball and gotten a lot of favor there. But I'm happy that these debates, TCU was always perpetually, are they or aren't they going to be in the college football playoff? These were discussions that we were having. Miami, FSU, Washington at the turn of the century. These were debates that genuinely affected the national title. I'm really welcoming the fact that we're going to have these conversations about the 11th best team in the nation. Yeah. Teams that probably don't have a legitimate shot to go through the CFP and win the national title. And while it'll spark maybe even more debates, they won't be as crucial as getting the best team to win the national title.
Dan, you're right. I think most fan bases react the way Florida State's reacted.
All of them.
Okay, all of them. That's fine. But Florida State did get another game. It was against Georgia. They lost 63-3.
Understood. I'm not
million opt-outs.
I'm not here to re-legislate any of that.
Right.
I'm just telling you that there isn't a fan base in the history of fan bases that wouldn't poisonously go after any Herbstreit who they thought was responsible for what happened there. And I'm not just making it college football. I'll make it throughout all of the history of sports. If you're going to make it that subjective and some team wins all its games, they get to play another one that matters.
No, you're right. Fan bases will seek that person, whoever that person is. Who's the person saying our undefeated team is not deserving of making it to the college football playoff? They will seek it out. They will crush that person.
I just thought, though, with that FSU team, they were returning a lot of starters. It just wasn't transfers from LSU and Alabama. The problem with that team was their quarterback last year was great, and this one's not. And we've got enough of a sample now, and it was unfair to him at Clemson. I'm just going to call him DJ U because I don't have the confidence that Mike has to say his last name, even though Mike even got a little scared of it right in the middle, did a little bit of a hiccup.
Well, no, there's a hiccup in the name. That's why there's a Uiagalele. There's a hiccup
put
there.
Put it on the poll,
there's
please.
There's an LE before the next LE.
At Batard Show, is there a hiccup in the middle of DJ U's name? At Batard Show. I feel bad about this part, and this is a sea change I'm going to lose on Stugotz because all of my life on this show, you've never heard me do to a quarterback what I just did to this kid in the last segment where I'm like, he's not good enough. The professionalization of this sport and the paying of players all of a sudden makes it so that even I feel permission to be more critical of what are now professional players, even though I have never done that to a college quarterback before where I'm like, that's just not good enough. That's not going to win you anything. If you're playing the top 12 teams in football.
Yeah, I'm struggling to find what the rules are. Do I apply the context of DJ U's on his third program? He's a redshirt senior. He's presently 23 years old.
Right.
He's made money in the NIL era, I think, at 3 different schools. And now it's time to have some accountability at that position. I do think you can criticize a player, just, no personal shots. And I think everything that you said have been in play.
But I've never even done that before, though. Like, it's not.
Well, welcome to the party, pal.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even like it, though. I feel like it feels like a rationalization on my part for bad behavior. We celebrated Roy earlier because he's a champion in barbecue and fishing and knocked out some Key West, some general Hall of Famers in Key West with what has to be just a real upset. But one thing we did not celebrate, and I'm glad we get to do it here locally, we've mentioned briefly that the Duke is doing FIU football games this year at the Pit, at the
Cage.
The Pit Bowl. Whatever the name of that stadium is going to be.
The Cage, yeah.
We'll have to figure that out.
It's going to eventually be the Pit, is it not?
I don't know.
It should be.
We'll see.
If
I come in here, Daddy Big Bucks over here, and just change the name of the Cage. I mean, it's called Pitbull Stadium, but it's the Cage as far as I'm concerned, or until I'm told otherwise.
It will always be the
might
Cage, right? So much history.
You're on the official broadcast, and he's paying a lot of money for those naming rights.
I saw Goldie. Are you going to be working with Goldie?
I will not be. No. But he's part of the team. Yeah.
There are a lot of broadcasters.
Kim Camper
Bo
as well.
Camper.
Wow.
There's some heft on that. The FIU's serious about football this year.
Well, they're keeping me away from those names.
What are you doing?
Their stadium's named after Pitbull.
What are you doing this season?
I'm going to be on the radio call this season for 4 of the games this year because, as you mentioned, there's a number of people, and there's going to be rotation going. I will be doing 4 of the games, twice as many as the 2 last year. So,
wow.
I don't know if I can tell you the games that I'm doing yet, but I'll tell you I'm going to be doing the first game at Pitbull Stadium. You better believe it.
And you're not going to call it the Pit because you should do that. You should be the one who you're the one who should change the name from the Cage to the Pit. Because
I'm conflicted, if I'm going to be honest with you, and I feel like this is as good a place as any to do some therapy here. Look, gang, if I'm going to be honest, I feel like I'm being invited to be a bit of a clown on these broadcasts.
No.
I'm wondering if that's the case. And
Are you the third man?
I will be the third man, yes.
I didn't know if it was 2-man.
No, it's a 3-man. It's going to be a 3-man booth.
Who are the other people?
Well, it's a rotation, yeah. So.
Yeah, but you said there's 3 people in the booth. Is there an actual former football player?
There will be, yeah. In some of the games, there'll be a former football player in there, former FIU Panther, tight end.
Keeping his cards close.
Right.
Well, but Billy, before you go too far down this path, I do believe
Do you think this is an embargo, or Billy doesn't remember?
No, I just like I don't want to, I don't want to step on any toes. I don't want to, put anything at risk here.
You gave us former FIU tight end.
Yeah,
so
but there's a number. I mean, it could be Jonnu Smith.
I'm just picturing Barry Jackson listening right now, like, give me more, Billy.
Unlikely.
Give me more.
Billy, you have noticed, we have noticed, everyone has heard us notice that media jobs all over are shrinking, but football remains a monster economy. And I saw Andrew Marchand wrote in the New York Post that Peter Schrager and Mina Kimes have been so good on preseason games that he's wondering whether we're going to see finally someone other than Tony Kornheiser and an ex-athlete be someone who gets to broadcast games who isn't an ex-athlete. Billy, you've got a lane here as both the Duke and, if you can provide Clown, to give them something Kim Bocamper will not give them. You could be Clown Bocamper.
Well, okay. I don't aspire to be Clown Bocamper.
Let's bring some humor to it instead of Clown.
It's going to be me, Jackson McDonald. Now that you've twisted my arm, you got the tight end out of me.
You looked it up?
Jackson McDonald's going to be there, and then, A.J. Ricketts and Corey Brooks will be, doing the play-by-play. It's a rotation. We're a team. We're all a team here.
I saw that index finger you were trying to hide,
team.
scrolling, trying to find the name of your teammates.
It's a team
Don't
game.
tell me no. I saw you doing
It's a
it.
big team game.
You don't know the name of your teammates.
Yeah, I do.
Now,
Jackson something.
It is time for Stugotz to share his game notes. No one in the media will tell you what happened better than my boy Stu.
Weekend observations brought to you by Miller Lite. great taste, just 96 calories, available for delivery. Dan, you know what they say, you save the best for last. And tennis is no different. The hard courts, the grunts, the obnoxious fans, Arthur Ashe, prime time, and of course, the beautiful surroundings of Flushing Meadows. And Dan, just like that, make no mistake about it, U.S. Open week is back.
I thought college football would be your.
That was
back.
last week.
You're a real. You're still. I thought 2 weeks in a row. I thought you would just hit college football.
Dan, we've got a huge doping scandal in the sport too.
We do.
It's a big one.
What a great couple of weeks. You have college football, the U.S. Open, the NFL. The NFL, that's Sunday where you have the NFL and then the U.S. Open men's final at 4 o'clock. One of the great days on the sports calendar. One of them.
You're amazed, aren't you, that there are 31 Division I college football games on Thursday?
Yeah, I wish there was 32.
Come on.
All eyes on Boulder. For that one, all eyes on Boulder.
In honor of the U.S. Open, top 5 athletes who don't play tennis but have a great tennis name. OLI, Rafael Santana, Will Zalatoris, Yari Curry, Pete Maravich, Don Newcomb. Number 5, Nikola Jokic, the Joker. Number 4, Joakim Noah.
I mean,
That's
cheating.
cheating.
It's cheating.
That's
It's cheating.
Come on.
you went with a Joker and a Noah in your first two. I think you're cheating.
It's cheating.
You went. His dad was a tennis player.
Yeah, I know.
Yannick Noah.
How about Henrik Stenson? Better? Number 3, Peter Forsberg. Number 2, Carlos Arroyo. It's a great tennis name, it is. Number 1, Andy Van Slyke.
Dan, there's a doping scandal surrounding a player whose last name is Sinner.
Yeah.
How are you not all over this?
Mm-hmm. Here come the D-backs.
That, by the way, is infuriating. The D-backs and the Marlins were the same team. And now the D-backs are the hottest team in baseball.
Well, they are still because Josh Bell's there.
Mm-hmm. Right. I can see why Florida State wants out of the ACC. I wouldn't want to play Georgia Tech either. The Ramblin' Wreck. They got a shot.
They do not.
They do. Their coach is 5-0 against ranked teams. He's due. The college football season should never start in Dublin, Ireland. It should always start somewhere in the South or the Rose Bowl. No in between. Maybe Texas.
Some people are calling you a xenophobe, for just deciding
come on.
that things belong only in America.
The baseball in China thing, really.
I'm not saying don't play games overseas. I'm saying, start the season here, end the season here. That's all I'm saying.
He's not saying don't play him overseas. He's saying play him in America.
By the way, that was a direct quote from Stugotz. I don't think they've opened the season in China. I'm just putting that on him. He said that.
He did say that. You think there would have been?
To me when you
it would have been bigger news. Yes, it would have been bigger news if they had decided to start the season in a communist country. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we would have heard that somewhere, but maybe Stugotz did.
Well, question: how do we fall for it every year? I'm sprinting away from that with DJU. Every year we fall for it.
That's not true.
Every year
there was something there last year.
First drive, I thought they were the best team in the country. I fell for it.
And the second drive, you thought Georgia Tech was the best team in the country.
The D in DJU stands for doesn't matter what team he plays for, they always lose. Brent Key is now 5-0 versus ranked ACC opponents. Big game, Brent.
That's your reason.
That's all I got.
I'm glad you clarified with the ACC because I didn't remember him beating Georgia.
Right.
Although we played him tough last season. Down Bobby Down.
Stugotz proclaiming Georgia Tech is going to be good because their coach is 5-0 against ranked teams.
You would agree today, right now, they are the number one team in the country, right? The only 1-0 team. They beat a ranked opponent. I mean, on the road in Dublin.
They're not the only 1-0 team.
The only 1-0 team
that
to
beat a ranked opponent
team
on the
Dublin.
road in Dublin.
Well, it's a neutral site, but yeah.
Keep up, Mike. Keep up.
Sorry, my bad.
Number 10, Florida State, losing to unranked Georgia Tech. You know what the F in Florida State stands for? Frauds.
Wow.
And phonies. Can you call yourself the worldwide leader in sports if your college football halftime show's analyst is the lesser-known Acho?
Put it on the poll. Just that, the way he said it, Choo-Choo. Can you call yourself the worldwide leader in sports if your college football analyst is the lesser-known Acho?
Trevor Maddich joined in progress.
I saw him, and I saw Maddich. I'm
Love
like,
him.
still doing it.
Did you
like
see those eyebrows?
It felt
What's
so
going
good.
on there? What do you think is going on there? Those eyebrows.
What is your theory as our vanity
Well,
correspondent?
it's the same color as the hair. That's my theory.
I'm not going to mock anybody.
I'm not mocking him either. I'm a fan. Always have been, Trevor Maddich.
Yep.
The number of people who always comment anytime they're seeing me and they don't regularly consume us that my eyebrows look like unruly caterpillars, I'm not here to comment on anybody's physical appearance.
It's not the physical. I'm commenting on a hue.
Yeah.
I say that it was slowly morphing into Ryan Day.
As long as college football is around, there's always a place for Trevor Maddich, right? I mean, he's one of the great analysts of our lifetime. Is he not?
I appreciate, actually, the thing that I appreciate about Trevor Maddich beyond his name is just him bringing his general thickness to the proceedings.
Yes, you need it. Yeah.
Talk about meat boned. No, seriously, it happened to me walking into the studio today. I was on like one of the security screens. I was like, oh, what Ohio State's up to? Let's check in on Coach Day. Oh shit, that's me.
Arthur Ashe, top 5 athletes that connote cigarettes. OLI, Craig Carton. Not really an athlete, but
that's all right.
One of these days, I'm going to be showing up asking where Lou Holtz is and complete the transformation.
It's going to be in the mirror.
Robert Pack, Al Leiter. Number 5, Marion Butts. Number 4, Arthur Ashe. Number 3, Eric Winston. Number 2, Jeff Kent. And number 1, Jeff Smoker.
Cool Papa Bill.
Liverpool, looking good. Are they?
Yeah.
All right. I don't feel bad for a single Florida State fan that had to hop on a 15-hour flight across the pond back to Tallahassee from Dublin after watching their team lose as a double-digit favorite. I don't feel bad for one of them. You get what you pay for. I don't know if that makes any sense.
What do you
not.
mean you get what you pay for?
A lot of people are saying they feel bad for Florida State fans. They had to travel all that way. They lost the game. You have to travel back home. I don't feel bad for any of them. I mean...
But what do you mean you get what you pay for? They paid a bunch of money and they got a loss.
Right, and you know what you get? A flight home, a sad flight home, and I don't feel bad for you. You have to do risk-reward when you do these, Dan, okay? You have to say to yourself, it might be a long 15-hour flight home after Florida State loses with DJU.
But when you say you get what you pay for...
Well, I don't know what that means.
That's just you wanting to use a cliche there that doesn't make sense?
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton hit back-to-back-to-back home runs. The Bronx Bombers. Taylor.
Aaron Judge is on base 47% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's nuts.
If Aaron Judge was doing this in the 90s, he'd be our most famous athlete. He'd also likely be on steroids. The A in Aaron would have stood for anabolic steroids. It would have.
Androdiastine or whatever that stuff was.
I'm not even certain he's the most famous player in his own sports. Right?
It's either him or Shohei Ohtani.
It's Shohei Ohtani, I think.
You can make an argument for Bryce Harper.
Not a good one.
No.
Not in 2024.
You can't possibly have a better summer than the 12-year-old who hits a walk-off to win the Little League World Series. Walk-off bunt, small ball, Dano. That was so much fun.
Florida, Little League World Series champions.
Yeah.
Florida.
Mm-hmm. Sam Howell is a Seahawk. SMU snatched victory from the jaws of defeat. Bronco Mendenhall is coaching New Mexico, the Lobos. As long as college football is being played, there will always be a spot for a guy named Bronco Mendenhall. Huh?
It's a great name.
Thank you.
Choked it away. You don't play Montana State.
You don't
play Montana,
You said
Montana
it.
State,
You said
the
it.
Dakotas.
Yes.
You stop playing those.
Mm-hmm.
You never schedule those.
Noah Lyles is making demands for a race with Tyreek Hill. Noah, newsflash, Olympics are over. So is your 15 minutes.
You wouldn't be interested in that race?
Nah, football started.
I'd be interested in
Next
that race.
summer.
I'd be interested to watch someone be a lot faster than Tyreek Hill.
Spencer Rattler. Little something I like to call it factor, Dano.
Not at Oklahoma. He didn't have
Well,
it.
he does now in the NFL.
South Carolina kind of rekindled some of the excitement.
Put it on the poll at Batard Show. Did Trey Lance improve Dak Prescott's bargaining position?
That was something.
5 interceptions. How crazy is it? How crazy is it that we've gotten so used to quarterbacks not making mistakes that when someone throws up one of those Fouts games, we're like, what the hell is that? What is 5 interceptions? You can't play that position.
I love a cowboy collar neck roll on as a linebacker.
Did you see Georgia Tech's middle linebacker?
Yeah.
He looks like football.
That's why.
Yeah.
Yep. You get me a linebacker with a cowboy collar neck, and I like our chances. Drake May can scoot. Sneaky athletic. Taylor. Drake. May. B? Drake maybe. Mine.
Is it maybe one word or maybe 2 words?
It's MAY-BE.
Oh, wow. So it's a dash in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Drake. Maybe?
Oh, there's a question mark in there, too.
Oh, of course there is.
Oh, that changes everything.
Yes.
Walking like cadence into that one.
Yeah, I do.
But a dash. I didn't have it being a dash.
That's the way I do it. Yeah. College football. I'm not calling it the 2-minute timeout. It's the 2-minute warning. Stop trying to make me say what you want me to say. Stop trying to make it a thing. It's not a thing.
Yeah.
It's already there.
Yeah.
It's called the 2-minute warning.
I'm an idiot that was screaming, get out of bounds!
Yeah.
Having forgot that rule was in place.
Yep. I lost a preseason bet, Cowboys money line. I wanted to be mad at Trey Lance, but I have only myself to blame. I bet a money line preseason. I want to yell at Trey Lance. I do. Dak Prescott. That is such a great observation by you. You should write these.
I mean, it was pretty funny to have Trey Lance go out there and throw the ball 50 times and all of a sudden Dallas to realize, oh, we don't have another answer if Dak gets hurt.
Stugotz, who doesn't actually write his own observations,
I
says
do.
You should write some.
I write them all. Keep an eye on Travion Williams. That's mine. Regardless of what part of the spa I'm in, I always feel the need to whisper. Top 5 places where, regardless of where I am, I feel the need to whisper. OLI, library, hospital. Number 5, Temple. Number 4, Watching The Last Dance. Number 3, Cooperstown. Number 2, Canton. You been to the Hall of Fame?
Yes.
The NFL Hall of Fame?
No.
Oh, you haven't? Then you haven't been to the Hall of Fame.
Well, you said
Barbecue Hall of Fame?
Cooperstown.
You
said
should whisper there.
Cooperstown.
Yeah, well, I meant Canton.
Yeah.
Number 1, Augusta.
Do you do the thing where you're watching tennis or golf with your wife and then you catch yourself whispering in a conversation?
All the
Or
time.
I've caught myself doing
Yes.
that as someone's lining up a drive.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju.
Like Nance.
Do you whisper while watching golf? Whisper to your wife while watching golf on television. Did you just try to one-up me on the fact that you've been to Canton and I haven't been? Is that what just happened there?
Yes.
Because we forced you to go with Baselli, and that was the time?
No one forced me to go with Baselli. I paid my own way. I joined Tony Baselli. I had a great time. I went to his party. We're friends. I mean,
Stugotz.
Afternoon drives, Jacksonville, endgame.
Are you forgetting that we had to push you into doing that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, no, I'm not forgetting.
Picked a bad year. You should have waited for Dwight Freeney, who you've been friends with. Could have hung out with MJ.
You're right.
Not that the Cons, I'm sure, weren't great company with you and Baselli, but
I sat next to the Cons. I mean,
Khan, not Cons.
there were 3 Cons then.
You were one of them.
Hey. There's another Nakua. He's on the Saints. Samson Nakua. A couple of the Nakuas cutting it up. Fanatics lawsuit is going after Marvin Harrison Jr.'s father. Fanatics, listen to me. Please, I care about you.
No.
Be careful. Be very careful. The most dangerous of games.
No.
Are we at the point where he's now Marvin Harrison Jr.'s father and not Marvin Harrison?
Yes.
We shouldn't be saying that name out loud. Please stop saying that name out loud.
Matt Breida, back with the Niners. The Marlins are calling up Griffin Conine, son of Jeff Conine, Mr. Marlin. How about that? Make you feel old? Huh?
Mr. Marlin, I'm with Chris Cody. Never in the history of team nicknames has there been a player more average as the nickname holder than Mr. Marlin, Jeff Conine, who I believe played for 7 teams.
Not exactly Mr. Cub. I mean.
Not exactly. How many teams did Jeff Conine play for? I think it's the Orioles and the Mets twice, and the Marlins twice.
11 Chargers got stuck on an elevator for hours. I wouldn't put it past Jim Harbaugh to stage an elevator getting stuck in the building. Jim Harbaugh says he wished he could have got stuck on the elevator with the players. I believe him.
The quotes were so good, Stugotz. They were so ridiculous. Quote, Justin Herbert's a leader. He was a rock. He kept everyone calm. Everyone kept their poise. You get in those situations, and it's a test of wills.
He loves a test of wills.
He does.
Jim Harbaugh would schedule adversity into his day for the hell of it. Speaking of hell, Art Briles. Dan, those are the weekend observations.
I've got, excellent, Stugotz. Thank you. I've got some stats of the day I want to run by you guys and have you guys tell me which it is that you think is best.
Kansas City twice, Baltimore twice for Jeff Conine.
6 teams. 6, not 16. 6 teams.
6 teams.
And
16.
the Marlins twice.
And the
as well.
Marlins twice as well.
Yes.
Royals, Marlins, Orioles, Marlins, Orioles, Phillies, Reds, Mets.
Wait, so the Orioles
16.
twice as well?
Yes.
The Orioles
Yeah,
also
16.
twice.
Yeah.
Well, 6 organizations, 10 teams, right?
I don't know if that's how that works.
Well, 17 years, so you could say 17 teams,
Right.
technically.
Right.
6
Every team is
franchises.
different. Right. Every year the team
So
is
it wasn't
different.
16, it was 17. That was
6
the confusion.
organizations.
6
Right.
franchises.
Yeah.
10 years
10
in the
teams.
NL,
What
9 in
happened?
the AL. But once, the interleague play, then that's all mishmash,
I've got
Stats of the day?
a couple of stats of the day for you. Give me the music, please.
Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is your start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day.
You tell me, Stugotz, which of these two you think is better.
Okay.
This is from my good friend Barry McCockiner. LeBron James averaged 27.2 points per game when Frank Gore entered the league. He averaged 25.7 points per game when Frank Gore's son entered the league. That's one stat. The other stat, I don't know if you saw what Shohei Ohtani, you mentioned during your weekend observations that Shohei Ohtani is the biggest star in the sport.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see how he got to 40-40 over the weekend?
No.
So he gets to 40-40 25 games faster than any player in the history of the sport, okay? He gets to 40-40. He's got a legitimate chance at 50-50 the way that he plays. And he gets to 40-40 25 games faster than anyone else and does it on a walk-off grand slam. I've watched way too much Rays baseball. Siri tried to climb the wall. He's a great center fielder, but Ohtani's ridiculous. And so walk-off grand slam to get to 40-40.
Very cool.
According to MT Money DFS, Ohtani is having the 11th best offensive season of Barry Bonds' career.
Greatest stat ever. That wins. I mean,
Ohtani is having the 11th best offensive season of Barry Bonds' career.
Yeah, but Barry couldn't pitch for shit.
Neither can Ohtani this year.
Not this year.
That's all right. We've seen him do it.
Mike, think about
kind of
that.
a part of it, though.
I know, but think about the season he's having, and it would be the 11th best season Bonds had.
Can he get 50-50?
He might get there. He's got an outside chance.
How many times has Bonds done 50-50? I'm asking out of curiosity.
I don't know.
I don't think there has been. I don't think there's such a thing as 50-50. I don't think anybody's done 50-50.
Canseco at 40-40, I
don't think anybody's ever done 50-50.
That would be pretty rad, yeah.
I mean, he's gotten there 25 games faster. There are a couple of things in baseball happening that haven't happened in a really long time. The White Sox got to 100 losses faster than any team since 1916. Like, this is what we're watching with the Chicago White Sox is a historic, not seen in a century awful.
Zero talking on ESPN about baseball today. Zero. In fact, we've been canvassing what's been on First Take, and for 43 minutes, they've been talking about the Denver Post columnist being banned from Colorado.
All right. Well, you mentioned that on Thursday, all eyes are going to be on Boulder, and I wanted to ask you guys something because Stugotz, the columnist is named Sean Keeler, and he has been banned because of what the Colorado Buffaloes are calling sustained personal attacks. He has called Deion a false prophet. He's called him Deposition Deion. He's called him Planet Prime. And this is my favorite. He's called him the Bruce Lee of BS.
Wasn't that Bruce Lee?
I don't think of Bruce Lee as being BS.
Oh, dude, there was a whole controversy, and I'm not saying it. I'm just doing what Quentin Tarantino did.
Right.
There were a whole bunch of controversy from his surviving family because of how he was portrayed, when many people around that industry finally liked that someone was actually portraying Bruce Lee the way that he was in real life, and that it became a big thing.
But let's get back to, and put it on the poll, Juju, at Batard show, was Bruce Lee bullshit? Which is blasphemous.
Yeah, they're going to come after you.
No,
and by they I mean his family.
Right.
I'm saying it's bullshit.
Dangerous game, Dan.
I'm not doing the dangerous game. I'm putting it as a poll question. It's just a question. The audience decides. This is not my doing. This is Mike's doing. I would not ever accuse Bruce Lee of being bullshit. But Sean Keeler says that he's the Bruce Lee of BS, and I just wanted to ask you, Stugotz, because the heat on this is now in a really unusual, unreasonable place. If he's going to decide he's going to fight the media the way he's always fought the media, the place that this gets ratcheted up to is unlike any that any college football game is enduring, any college football coach is enduring. College football coaches have all sorts of problems with the media all the time, but we haven't played a game yet, Stugotz. There hasn't been. It's one season, and the noise around this man and this team are not any kind of sane.
I get that this is like a compelling, interesting story, but 40 straight minutes to start First Take, like this, it seems
ridiculous.
It does. Yeah. Makes me wonder who has that game on Thursday night.
Ooh. Yeah, when you say that's ridiculous, I remember that you guys remember. I don't know if this got a lot of traction.
It's ESPN; they have the rights.
Chris Carter recently said that he wanted to punch Skip Bayless in the face and told him during a segment not to ever disrespect me that way again because they were talking so much Tebow. And Skip Bayless said to Chris Carter, when Chris Carter said, if throwing a football is important for a quarterback, Tim Tebow is not a professional quarterback. And Skip Bayless said to him, that's why you never won a Super Bowl.
What?
Yes, but the reason I bring it up is because they're going to cover Deion the way they covered Tebow. It's the easiest thing in the world. 40 minutes of Deion. You know what's the only thing wrong with 40 minutes of Deion? That's not 50 minutes of Deion. Like they will eat up all of that, and it will be trafficking in whatever the sports fan will argue about because they'll prep up the game for 3 days from now.
They'll get to 50 minutes.
It'll be interesting. I wish I was actually hearing this conversation, though, because Stephen A. and Shannon Sharp, they have the relationships with Deion. In fact, Stephen A. was actually speaking for Deion as to why the last time he had a press conference interaction that didn't land the right way, he was kind of speaking for him, even though there were other journalists that were saying that are also close to Deion saying something totally different. The one who got put on the blogs was Stephen A. speaking for Deion Sanders. So it's a curious spot that they're in, but right now they're feeding the machine because they are the machine.
I don't know what they're saying either, but I am willing to bet I'd place money on what I'm about to say, which is in those 40 minutes of all the things they're talking about, one of them is not an assistant coach going to ask Saudi Arabia for money for NIL.